Fuzzle.
Hi everyone, I'm Sean.
And I'm Eric.
And this is the Fuzzlecast. Today we have a very special guest, Mr. Leon Haselbach, all the way from Düsseldorf, Germany. Leon has worked with us on a collaboration for Lacitu Party, and we discuss his influences and the future of our collaborations together. So check it out. And welcome Leon Haselbach to the Fuzzlecast.
Yeah, hello.
So Leon, we became interested in you. I stumbled upon you on Twitter, actually. You and I share some like-mindedness on some of our comments on there, and I messaged you one day, and we found out that we're both musicians, we're both into production, and being that you're all the way on the other side of the world, I was really intrigued by that and kind of wanted to learn more. And here you are today. So we'd like to kind of get your story. Who are you, man?
Who am I? Good question. Mm-hmm. First of all, I consider myself as a musician. I do music since I can think of it, actually. Started playing piano with 5. And then added the drums as I was 8. And then get into guitar playing at 12 additionally. And so I'm playing music all my life and had a lot of different influences.
So what kind of influences in Germany were pretty prominent? I take that we're probably in the same age range, 20s to 30s range, right?
Yes. I grew up listening a lot of stuff my parents listened to. My father was always into rock music, classic 80s stuff, AC/DC, Iron Maiden, Black Sabbath, and that kind of stuff. And my mother was a completely opposite, listening to a lot of classical music, like Bach and Mozart, and my mother actually is also very musical, plays the piano, sings since decades actually, and then I pretty much listened first to a lot of punk stuff, German punk bands, Offspring.
Who are some German punk bands? Because I know the LA-based ones and the United States ones.
So the biggest German punk bands are Die Ärzte and Die Toten Hosen. I'm pretty sure you never heard of them. But
I don't know if I can say them, but yeah.
But actually,
I don't think so.
But actually, they're both sold over 25 million CDs in their career. And
wow.
Yes. Yes, and then later I went on more listening to metal, Linkin Park, that stuff, so crossover, and a band colleague introduced me then, as I was 12 or 13, I think, into more death metal, Opeth, Dream Theater, more progressive music, and so I went on, played that stuff too, mostly on drums at that time. And
that's some tough drums, some Dream Theater and some Opeth.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
My goodness. And you said that you were also, programming drums at a young age. So would you say you're mostly, first and foremost, a drummer? Was that your first real instrument?
I would say so, though I had a lot of musical theory coming from playing piano, of course.
Good.
And I did that for 7 years, actually, with a teacher, but it never really catched me. So yes, I would call the drums my first instrument. and then guitar actually.
Now,
Nice.
I was just going to say, yeah, we've listened to a few of your songs that you've recorded on drums and guitars, a few on your YouTube channel, and we'll get into a little bit later about how you actually recorded with, helped us with the remix of Lacitu Party also. So, yeah, I can definitely attest that your chops are up there. You have some
Thank
impressive
you.
stuff. Yeah.
And the drums in particular, actually, like your background in drumming, that was something that definitely struck me about the remix as well. Was the way you programmed those drums sounded great. You know,
Yeah, thank you.
much better
Yeah, of course it helps if you can
than you.
play that instrument. Es-
Absolutely.
Especially drum programming is a lot of work, and if you have no idea how a drum is played, then I cannot imagine to do that actually without
No.
that knowledge.
That's
Yeah.
definitely something that I struggle with too. It's like, because I mean, I have a faint idea of how drums are played, but sequencing and everything, and like you said, having the background can go a really long way, I'd imagine, to being able to understand all the little nuance that makes it feel alive and interesting and exciting, and all the different creative ideas that come out of that. So I rely very heavily on the logic drummer, I guess is what I'm saying.
hmm And it's cool that you come from such a a metal influenced background, and then I guess I'll just kind of segue into it because you found our music, and then we had put up a request for people to take our song "Lacitu Party" and to do a remix of the stems with it, and it's the song itself is it's got some different sounding tracks that could go into any genre probably, but you heard it in metal.
Yes,
And
yes.
you want to tell us a little bit about how just that came to be?
Oh, that's a tough question actually, because I heard it and immediately had ideas in which context I will put it.
hmm
First of all, I was programming the drums to it actually without knowing what I will play on guitars. Of course, I used your chord progressions to match the voice, and it was a very fluent and fast progress.
That's
It's
great.
It's
much like ours, which is good.
Yes, 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 and yeah, I don't actually know what's going on in my brain at that moment. That's it goes, and I I did a bit of jamming with the guitar to the drum track I programmed, and yeah, I mean it's not that hard actually, because the arrangement was there, of course, the chords were
hmm
there, the melody was there. So I thought mostly how I can, yeah, put some tension in it at some parts, and yeah, and that process is actually, I don't know how to say it. I imagined what I would play on the drums and had a feeling of how the song structure actually had to become,
hmm
and that's what.
Based on those drums, basically.
Yes, 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 yes.
Yes.
And that's
hmm
actually a lot of my songs I write. I always start with the drums. I I have some rhythms in mind, which I eventually play or program, and that is the base for all my songs actually. And yeah, it's hard to analyze myself actually.
Yeah. Well, I think that's really interesting because, it's finding, at least part of my process, and I think Sean's too, is finding that instrument that inspires you to kind of kick off the whole process. So for you, if that's drums, for me, many times that'll be bass, or, it'll just be whatever you reach for when you kind of start the process, or like the thing that kicks off your creative ideas, I guess. And so it's exciting when you find that and you kind of dial in that, and it's like everything kind of falls into place after that. just you find the first domino, I guess, before it goes.
Yeah, it also depends a bit on the genre, I think. For metal, it's mostly the drums which influence me. Yesterday I played around a bit with my guitar, and there come totally different ideas to my mind when I play the guitar, and so I would say for metal it's the drums, and for everything else it's the guitar.
I can see that. I feel that way a lot of the time too when I try to write a metal song. It's always just the beat that's more prominent than anything else, and everything else is kind of secondary to that. Because without that just pumping rhythm, it's not really metal, right?
Yeah, this is a way you can explain it. Actually, metal is extremely rhythmical and based on rhythmics in in the forehand, and not okay, there are of course examples where that doesn't count, but in that case it was clearly a more rhythmical choice.
Well, especially taking a more dance or kind of more the song originally had a pretty definitive beat on top. It's a driving song. Let's talk a little bit about your production process. Maybe we'll start at the top. What is your recording software or like your DAW of choice?
I use a PreSonus Studio One Professional since about 7 to 8 years, I think. And that's my choice to go. Actually, it has everything in it I need. On top of that, some additional plugins, mostly freeware, and of course, some sample libraries for the drums, some amp emulations, cap IRs for the guitars. Yeah, but actually nothing special.
The guitar and drums sound phenomenal. I was going to ask you what drum samples do you use, and which do you try different guitar stuff? What does that look like?
For the drums, I use mostly GGD's P4 library. It is perfect for metal and rock stuff. Sounds phenomenal out of the box. It is the samples are a bit pre-produced, I think, with EQs and preamps, but not that hard. And I route them in single tracks into the DAW and do there my mixing. On Lacitu Party, it was heavily produced, heavily compressed.
Needs to be.
As everything else. And for the guitars, I switched 2 years ago from VST plugins to a Laney Ironheart Studio with DI out and that is the amp I use, and on top of that I use cap IRs also from GGD.
Nice. So you bring your live amp in direct, and then use a speaker, IR basically.
Yes, that's it actually.
That's great.
Reverb and delays I add in the DAW, not in the signal chain directly, because of flexibility.
Nice.
Very cool.
It's good working inside the box where you have so much flexibility with making some of those sounds, and finding ways to bring the analog real gear into that mix is awesome too. So you get kind of the best of both worlds, right?
Yes, and the pro of that is that you spare extreme your computer resources actually.
Yep.
My CPU is barely used in comparison to the time I always played with digital amps. Yeah, that's definitely a big pro for me.
That's great. Until you bring in some live reverbs and delays, and then it'll spike right back up. Right?
Yes.
I'm curious to know who are some of your biggest musical influences, just in general, that kind of kicked off your journey.
For drums, I would say it's Mike Portnoy from Dream Theater. But also later on, I listened to a lot of funk and jazz musicians, and at the time I got more into progressive music. I studied Gavin Harrison a lot from Porcupine Tree, formerly, and in the last years I listened a lot to Joost Nickel. It's a German funk fusion drummer, worldwide known for his expertise. Yeah, there are not that much drummers I really would call an influence. And guitar-wise, of course, I have to name John Petrucci. I don't know any musician who doesn't have John Petrucci as an idol in some.
He's one of the greats, yeah.
Yeah, and but if I compare my compositions and my writing process, I would say the heaviest influence is Opeth in all kind of matters.
Cool. Yeah, Opeth, that kind of works over here too. Metal, I'm not as versed as most people, but all my big metalhead friends, Opeth is always at the very top of their list too. And I think as far as metal goes, I guess drumming-wise, I've always been really impressed and influenced by Danny Carey. Is he one for you guys too? I think he usually kind of goes across the board.
Yes, I know him, of course, but actually I didn't listen really much to Tool and his work. I wouldn't say he was an influence to me, but definitely a great drummer, of course.
Yeah, he's my fave.
And I'm a huge fan of Tim Alexander from Primus. Also, that's that dude's a beast.
And we will want to also maybe play a little bit of Lacitu Party, just because your solo in that is just intense. It brings some new energy. Maybe we can play a little bit right here.
Yeah.
Just shredding. And you brought a whole different element to the song, which we're really intrigued by, and we are gonna actually be working with you a little more for another collaboration in the future that we'll just tease to people right now. And the artist is going to be we're going to be doing a cover, and it's going to be a German artist of a Fuzzle style metal collab. So you guys can look forward to that too, hopefully. We'll keep you posted with Leon Haselbach.
Yeah, I really look forward to that. I think it will be, of course, different to Lacitu Party if we do that from zero together.
Yeah, we're definitely looking forward to building a collab, kind of from the ground up. That one kind of was really exciting to hear, like Sean said, a whole different take on something that was already established. So it'll be fun to kind of build something together, from square one.
Yeah, production-wise, I think it can only get better, because I had a hard time to bring your vocal parts at Lacitu Party into that metal mix.
It's got some pop in it, yeah. So you did a great job of melding the two.
Yeah. That took most of the time, actually, was to bury the vocals into the metal mix, because I think there were already some delay and reverb on it, on the stem.
Right.
And that is extremely hard.
Yep. Next time I make the stems, I'll probably turn off all the all the external processing. That would probably help. My bad.
Yeah. We just wanted to give you a challenge.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yes, let's call it that.
And everybody, we just wanted to, we're going to be putting links for Leon and his YouTube channel in the bottom, and also we're going to link Lacitu Party, the metal remix, so you guys can check that out there. It's very cool, and we'll link to his SoundCloud as well. And just basically, we're really happy to be making connections with people, all over the world. And you're certainly the most distant person that we've started working with. And it's been a great experience to meet you. And we're looking forward to doing more with you as well.
Yeah, me too. I can only give that back. It really motivates me to do more stuff. I got a bit rusty in the last 2.5 years and did not much, but now I'm motivated to do more, actually.
That's awesome. That's what this whole community of, do-it-yourself musicians is about. It's propping up and networking and getting each other's work seen. So, like I said, we're happy to have met you, and we look forward to doing more with you too.
And that was Leon Haselbach from Düsseldorf, Germany. Had a great time chatting with him. Thanks for following along. As we said, got some exciting stuff on the horizon, so follow along on our social media and YouTube to keep up with that.
And as always, we are Fuzzle, and we are out.